Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and today I'm going to give you your macro technical analysis for Bitcoin. Total 3. Total is all of the altcoins. Total 3 is all the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, gold, the S&P futures, the NASDAQ futures, SOLBTC, and maybe even another coin to give you a surprise. So let's break down Bitcoin right now. Let's talk about what I see on the macro, and let's dive into basically the macro of all these awesome assets that give us a pretty good idea of where we're going in the next week ahead. So from last week, we were pretty spot on. Let's see how that carried over, and let's run on into BTC. So last week, we talked about the fact that Bitcoin was kind of hanging by a ledge, but it was a little greener as we made, it was looking greener as we made this update. Then we got this massive liquidation that was absolutely insane. It was the biggest liquidation in the history of Bitcoin, right? Only to recover a little bit, and we kind of sat there. And we said, hey, I'd like to see this close green, but as long as it stays inside the pattern, we're okay. And that's what happened. Our next week came upon us, and we're green again. We've battled this many times. We've actually had this become a bullish engulfing where you could put at least the candle section inside of the green candle. And we've been getting above that weekly support or resistance area that I talk about so much, 97,200. If you can stay above 97.2, your next resistance, it's 101.4. Then you're going for basic, then a little bit there at 102.8, and then you're gone for the 104.4, and you're going to rip to the upside, right? What we'd like to see is this basically bullishly close in the next 2 days and 7 hours. And then we can basically assume once that's a bullish engulfing candle that we should start to head back to the top of the channel. We can get some chop, 1, 2. It may take 4 to 6 weeks really for this to fully play out. But then we'll have a beautiful consolidation for this flag to break further to the upside. And then you're getting Bitcoin going to 146,000. Altcoins will basically bounce because people won't be afraid we're going to a bear market anymore. They'll get relieved. They'll be the no, you were scared, no, you were scared, no, you were scared behavior. And things will kind of revisit the bull market highs again, and things will get crazy. Would be awesome. This is basically the best case scenario. So this weekend, what we want to see just for this to occur is to have this close bullish engulfing. I'll even take it if it just closes right now green instead of red. This candle has been up and down all week. Just a green candle close, and let's get this bounce, this higher low back to the top. The bullish scenario for me is that you're near the 21-day moving average. You're basically on or slightly above that high volume node or on it. The stochastics are resetting low while you're making a higher low, which is a bullish sign for continuation so far. Like if you were really bearish at this high, we should have dumped all the way down here. Like when this stochastics reset, look how much further down we were. We were here by now. But we've gone almost sideways while the stochastics reset. That's something that I look for when I'm looking for a bullish move. So I like that. That's very bullish. So what I'm looking for next week on this weekly is for this weekly to close green and for our next weekly candle to be kind of up here. And so when I'm doing this next Friday, we should be somewhere like right here with this next weekly candle closing green. Again, things could change this weekend. We'll go from there. But that's what I would like to see on this macro. And then as we keep doing it the next few weeks, we just watch consolidation. And then somewhere by maybe March 17th, we begin to get the pump. And it's an April-May pump. And then we get that pullback again throughout the basically the summer. And then we resume the pump, usually somewhere late October, November, December. And then that would be the end of the rally, right? Again, I'll take it one step at a time. But that's our macro analysis for Bitcoin. It is bullish. We're making the higher low. So far, so good. The daily is very oversold and wants to rip back up, hugging these lows. We're looking for this falling wedge to break out on the daily, back to the upside. At least for the next 4 to 5 days, 6 days, you want to get this bounce back to the top of the channel. If you, for whatever reason, decide to lose this trend line, start closing candles down here, we could drop to the 200 MA. We could see 80K. We are on the cusp of anything. I'm leaning a little more bullish now because of what I showed you on the weekly, because the weekly had all that time to go back down with the stochastics, but price actually went sideways. That is a strong indication that the bulls are slightly taking a little more control than the bears. It's subtle, though. You can't see it at first. It's just subtle. But it's beginning the stages. And then low stochastics, RSI kind of double bottoming here. Also on the RSI, you've got this swing up. That's an uptrend. But here, if you look here, you got this downtrend in price action. And that is hidden bullish divergence. And it tells us that we'll break this high before we break this low. And that's another indication to me that says that we should be breaking up. And next week when I'm here, we should be somewhere in here. Maybe $104,000, $105,000 for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. And that's kind of doing a similar idea, just with a more of a diagonal downtrend, right? Bitcoin's more sideways. The alts are more in a down flag, right? Downward flag. But still, we want to see the bounce to the top. And what we could see here is, look, a bit of a shoulder, a head, and a bit of a right shoulder, and we break on out of here. So I just want to see, next week we're somewhere there or here in this circled region, and we've got a bit of a bounce. The daily suggests for the next week, we should be getting that bounce. The RSI, the weekly, it all looks really nice. And so that's what I would like to see on these altcoins. You do not want to see a candle close below $3 trillion for the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency, right? If we get that move, that's going to be great for altcoins too. This isn't just the altcoins, but this is the entire market cap of all of crypto. But we definitely want to see that move happening. Why that's not as lateral as Bitcoin? Because the altcoins are lagging. Bitcoin's more in a sideways flag. The altcoins have dragged the total market cap in more of a downward falling wedge. So we look at total 3, and it's the same story for the altcoins. The one thing that I'm staring at and looking at is this Adam and Eve double bottom. It's got this dagger Adam, it's got the rounded bottom Eve, and it's got this rising wedge. We're actually looking for the altcoins this weekend in the next couple days to get a bounce. Break through this gap of the VRVP and head somewhere back to the $1 trillion region, and at least get rejected by it for now, and then we can start to build some support above, 950. So we want to see this move. When the moving averages are tight, they tend to pump up to the 200 MA. I could see that happen right now. So we're looking for altcoins to get a bit of a run here. Bitcoin pump up, maybe go sideways. It's doing all right today. And then altcoins can get a nice little pump to the upside for total 3. Next, you want to look at Bitcoin dominance. You want to see how much money is flowing in and out of Bitcoin. If money's going to flow out of Bitcoin, then it does it for 2 reasons. 1, the market is dumping bad and people are running into Tether. Or 2, Bitcoin's pumping hard and, the market's pumping hard and people want to sell Bitcoin for altcoins. So when Bitcoin dominance starts to pull back, it represents 2 things, maybe a whole market pullback or an alt season, right? So what you want to see is Bitcoin dominance beginning to pump while Tether dominance begins to fade. And that happens, money isn't leaving the market, even though it's leaving Bitcoin. And where it could be going, it has to be going into the altcoins. So right now I'm watching this, rounded movement here. And you can see Bitcoin dominance is falling off a little bit. Looks like altcoins are getting a little bit of a bounce. That's kind of an Adam and Eve double top. You see that? That has Adam and Eve double top. And we're starting to break down. So I don't know if this is alt season per se. And we're going to get rid of everything now and zoom out to the weekly time frame. But it could give us a little traction for altcoins just to kind of stop bleeding a little bit and gain a little movement back. On the weekly, it almost looks like we're going to make this rising wedge and continue to rip for Bitcoin, right? It is King Bitcoin. So if this is going to be this run, this is what's going to happen. We're going to get another run in Bitcoin dominance for sure. When everyone really, really wants to commit and we get that nice run up above 100K again. 3-day chart looks like we'll get some relief. So it says, I don't know. It says 6 to 9 days we could get some relief in the altcoins. If this leaves and starts to drop, then we'll get real relief. And that will be alt. But if it bounces back up, we'll get a pump. But it says, okay, until my next time we come, looks like we'll get 1, 2, 3, about a week could get us here back to the bottom of the pattern. And it looks like we'll get a pullback. So it looks like we're going to pull back on Bitcoin dominance, which would actually pretty good for the altcoins. That means people are actually not as afraid to buy alts. Let's take a look at Tether dominance. This should be losing. If my thesis that we just went over is correct, this should be red and we should be getting a dump on the 3-day. And it kind of is. Look, you're curving on the stochastics. You've hit another high. To me, this is clearly a bear flag. So let's get rid of all the scribbles, make it really simple for you to see. So we had that double bottom. It attempted to pump. It wicked up, got rejected. Great. People realized, no, I don't want to be in the DXY, right? But, in the dollar, or a bridged asset, or, a pegged asset. And to me, this is just a bear flag that's going to break down to the bottom of the channel. So I do see some alt movement here, because you're going to lose money in Tether dominance, and you're also going to lose money in Bitcoin dominance. Then I'd like to see this kind of just recover, go sideways, and then that's when alt season really takes off. And it says it's not going to take off till mid-March, maybe even the beginning of April. And then boom, alt season till about, it looks like just 1 month, like April to May, you're going to get a run, and then boom. We're probably going to get that bounce back, scribbles again. It's going to take till usually October, and then boom, the next leg of the market, and then we're done. So that is likely to me, and it's setting up pretty nicely with US Tether dominance. So we're going to get that pullback. It just looks like next week we will be getting some alt movement, because both the Bitcoin dominance and Tether dominance want to pull back on the 3-day chart. And we're going to get about, 2.5 of those before I come next week. And then bang, we should be somewhere down here forming the flag. I like to kind of run into the DXY at that point and see what's happening to the DXY. And as I said, I like to buy real estate. I'm actually putting in an offer on a piece of real estate today. Okay, wish me luck. I hope it goes well. Pray for me. The idea behind this is, to me, it looks like the DXY has topped out. Shoulder, head, right shoulder there on a slanted move. And to me, it's saying, hey, you're likely going to get a pullback in the DXY. I leave that as your lower high there, high, low, lower high. And we're going to begin to kind of really pull back now. And so if that is a local top, then I would say real estate would probably start to bottom out now. Okay. And then what happened is prices will start to punch up again. People will start to put out offers. And then the people that were kind of sitting complacent will realize they don't have that time. They'll get priced out. And so to me, as strange as it sounds, and I'm not a financial advisor, but for me, this is a good time to buy some real estate, because it very well could be a local top of the dollar, which could be a bottom for the real estate market or any asset that's pegged to the dollar. So it looks like the dollar is going to be dropping. And in the next 2 weeks, we will see a drop here on the DXY out of this head and shoulder pattern as well. I could be wrong. Maybe we reverse and start a flag, but I'd like to see us drop a little more further soon. Back to the 200 MA. That makes sense. Look how far the moving averages are. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Kind of a bear, not too strong, but a slight bearish divvy there. And that's the DXY. It looks like it's pulling back too, which is also pretty strong for Bitcoin. Bitcoin hanging above the 200 MA in the 1 hour. If you're just trading today, intraday trading, that's something you want to see hold until the daily candle closes. All right. Now we want to go into gold. I like looking at gold. My gold predictions have been spot on. Gold continues to rip. I see it doing so, and now I just see it flagging out again. It got too far from the 21 on the 3-day chart. It had a beautiful 21-day pump, which was unreal. Now look for it to pull back, touch the 21, and continue its rally. So it looks like gold is just going to kind of just get some cold feet for just a couple days, or go sideways. Not cold feet really, but just go sideways for a couple days. Make a beautiful bull flag, right? And sometimes it might take till a little even after my update next week, but it looks like we'll be forming a flag, and then next week we'll be getting it, or maybe by next week, if I do the update on Friday, it looks like somewhere by Tuesday or Wednesday, gold starts its move further back up again. And the target for gold is 31.74. See, that also adds to the probabilities. See, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the DXY, I'm looking at gold, and I'm going to speculate on those assets to help me figure out when Bitcoin's going to get a bounce. I've been doing this for a long time, and it works out pretty good. Instead of sitting there and speculating 100 times on the Bitcoin chart, I have other assets I can look at too as well. If gold makes this flag and continues up, it's telling me the DXY isn't strong. And if the DXY isn't strong, it tells me that we're going to get a drop in the DXY. If the DXY isn't strong, then tether dominance will surely fall. Why would you want to be in that? And it means people will be getting into Bitcoin and altcoins too as well. So this chart has a lot to do with the rest of my macro outlook. And that's why I give it to you every single week here. Let's take a look at the S&P futures, baby. And we told you they were bullish. I told you they were going to continue to pump. I showed you on the 3-day chart, we would just go sideways here by next week. We bounced. We did exactly what I told you would happen on last week's macro technical analysis. You got to love it. This is just so spot on and so beautiful. It's just amazing. So the S&P says we're going to continue. I'm telling you right now, next week we should have broken out. And when I do the macro analysis, we should be somewhere in the circled region on our way to the bigger target, at least the 67,727. They're going to print money. The dollar's about to drop. I see a massive pump here up until March or April. So it looks like the pump starts somewhere by the end of March. By the end of February, and it pumps till somewhere by the beginning of April. And that's when we'll call, and maybe we extend all the way into the mid-April. But again, selling may and go away will probably still play out again. But I'm looking for a move here on the S&P, the NASDAQ, the NQ, the nasty NAS, same exact thing. That's actually breaking out there a little bit. And I told you this was in a racing cup and handle. I told you we were going to see this thing pump. I see it headed to the target next week. We should be almost above this yellow line, if not headed there. And I'm bullish on the NASDAQ. It's exactly where I said it would be last week and continuing to rip. The NASDAQ doing damage. All right. Last but not least, I want to take a look at SOLBTC. If the altcoin's eventually going to get some type of traction, Sol Bitcoin will have to hold against Bitcoin. Looks like it is. It's holding the 200 MA. It's in this kind of, you can almost say like an exaggerated giant cup and handle that could continue to the upside. And that could put Sol all the way back up there. So I want to see Sol hold. And look, you can even see the stop loss right there. And that would be 159% gains on your Bitcoin. So I want to see Sol double bottom here, stay above the 200 MA and head back to the top of the channel. If the market rips back up, Sol rip with Bitcoin, and then SOLBTC has to gain a little bit of an edge on Bitcoin as well. And so this is what I'm seeing. Sol Bitcoin eventually beating up on Bitcoin and headed all the way to 0.05256 for Sol BTC. So that's my macro technical analysis every single week. We did Bitcoin, we did total, we did total 3, we did Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, gold, the NASDAQ, S&P, both of the futures, and Sol BTC. If you like watching this every single week, come back for more. If you like this TA and you see how it plays out and you're interested, watch my stream every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I can't wait to see you there. I'm around like-minded people that like to learn. You're probably one of them. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, you came to the right place because you came to this channel. Crypto is life.